Good afternoon. Um, this is in response to discussion number 9, the film Get Out. The first question: What did you think about the film? Explain why you liked it or did not like it. I personally liked the film. I liked. I thought it was okay. I'm not too much into a horror genre, um, but I enjoyed the film. So, but this might not be considered a horror film to me, but it did make a lot of sense to me. I understood what was happening, what was going on, and it made me think uh, made me think about racism, made me think about racism today versus racism in our past, and how we get treated today and how we got treated back then as far as black people and the people who I felt were racist or are racist today versus those who fight against racism, white, black, red, or yellow. So I enjoyed the film. I liked it. It caused a lot of controversy to me. I've talked about it with a couple of people. I actually talked about it with one of my kids and my wife or whatever. And it makes you think about slavery. To be honest, that was the main thought that came to mind with me about how people were treated back then and treated today. So that's basically what I thought about the film. The second question: Rose's parents are a psychiatrist and a neurologist. What is the significance of those two professions in the context of the film? I think those two professions were used to control the people who they wanted to control, the black people, and eventually take over the black person's consciousness and replace it with whomever they wanted. The psychiatrist was I don't know why I can't talk right now. Hypnotize the person, and the neurologist would go in and operate on the person to remove that person's consciousness and replace it with someone else's. Excuse me. I feel that the two professions have a stigma about them. Nobody wants to see a psychiatrist because people will think you are mentally ill if you do. And as far as the neurologist, no one wants to see a neurologist because then something's wrong with your brain. So both of those are like have this stigma about them that people are cautious of or even afraid of. Question number 3: Explain about the sunken place. Explain what the sunken place is and its meaning in the context of the film. The sunken place is the place where no one can get to you, and you are trapped. There's no way out. In the film, I think it means a place that keeps you trapped from being yourself, keeps you, just alone. You are void. You know who you are is now void. You don't matter, and you're the only person in that place. You can't talk to anyone. You can't touch anyone. You can't feel anyone. So there's no trace of you in our reality whatsoever. So I think that's what the sunken place was, and eventually to cause you to go crazy. So question number 4: Explain the trauma of racism in the film. How does it play out for Chris and Rod? On this question, I feel that the way racism was presented in the film was pretty close to what a lot of people feel today or go through today. The characters auctioned off the black men, and this caused me to think a lot about slavery, like I said earlier, and how it could be felt, how would it feel to be sold off to someone. Needless to say, this ain't a thought that I want to revisit all the time. It probably make me angry, to be honest. For the characters, Chris and Rod, I feel that like most black men in the South here in the United States, many of us look past racism or try to, but a lot of times it's presented in a way that we can't look past it or ignore it. We all want to ignore it and be treated fairly. We all want the same thing that everybody else wants, but clearly sometimes, a lot of times, It just doesn't happen. One guy in the film recognized. Hold on. One guy recognized it as, it was cautious. While the one guy, I'm trying to say this. One guy recognized that he was cautious. He was cautious about racism. That was Rod. The other guy, Chris, didn't see it or downplayed it, and it wasn't what he thought it was, and racism just seemed to be a second thought to him. But the truth is, just like in the film, and likewise today, racism is real. It's a part of our society. Whether we want to ignore it or not, it's still part of who all of us are. It's part of our history in the United States. The first thing we have to do is acknowledge, we must all acknowledge racism so that we can all move past racism. The first step is to know or realize that it's real and not a thing of the past. It's still here today. I know I read a lot of articles. I have read a lot of articles where some people believe racism is just a thing of the past and it doesn't happen today. And people are just trying to keep this narrative going. But the truth is, if you really dig into it, you will find racism. You can't avoid it. If you are open to believing it, if you are open to really researching and finding the truth, you'll find it. But the thing that we must do for those of us who've been treated unfairly, we have to give grace. We have to be, allow some grace to come in to give those who are racist the opportunity to change their behavior. If we can't give those people grace to change, then we're no better than they are. And then, what's the whole point? If two sides continue battling, both of them are soon going to destroy each other. So, and the second thing, at the same time, those who are racist, they have to acknowledge the fact that they are racist. That doesn't mean that's a awful thing. It just means when you acknowledge that you have a problem, then you can change. But if you don't ever acknowledge that you have a problem, then you will never change. You have to decide to change, and change is not easy. It's just worth it when when that change does come. I feel things are worth it. And to me, that's the only way. My two questions about the film. First question, I guess I would ask, if someone treated you in a racist manner, if someone, say for instance, let me give you an example. Say for instance, there was a job you applied for, and you were the most qualified for the job, but they decided not to give you the job, and they gave the job to another person who was less qualified, did not have the education you had, but they were the same race of the people who were doing the interview, and that's the person that got the job. How would you react and how would you feel? Second question, what character in the film do you feel you are most like? Be it Rod, Chris, Rose, their parents, or anybody in the film. Or better yet, can you see a character in the film that resembles somebody you know? And if so, who? Have a great day. Thank you.